These men and women are being taught how to improve their rice harvests and keep the soil fertile. They live and work in Sambaina, a town in Madagascar's capital, Antananarivo. Sambaina is one of Africa's Millennium villages. The United Nations is helping farmers here and in other model sites to employ the latest technology and agricultural practices in order to improve their yields and protect the environment. The project is part of the UN's drive to make communities self-sufficient by 2015, the deadline for the eradication of global hunger, disease and poverty. Rakotoson Louis is an agricultural trainer with the UNDP in Madagascar. Today he's teaching farmers about the dangers of industrial pollutants. Rafam Andrian Jaffe grows rice and raises livestock in Sambaina. He and the other farmers being trained here hope bigger harvests will help them stop living from hand to mouth soon.
We are ready to apply what we learned. We've never seen these techniques before. Now we need to apply them.
It's very interesting. We experience a lot of famine and poverty in this district, and those two things hinder our general development. We are very pleased about this project.
People could not rely on agriculture and livestock only, but with these improvements, we can rely on the two in this region.
In 2000, the start of a new millennium, the UN identified 8 development problems and committed to tackle them by 2015. They include poverty, universal education, gender equality, child health, maternal health, HIV/AIDS, environmental sustainability, and global partnerships. This September, 140 world leaders met in New York and asked everyone to work harder to meet the deadline for the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs. A highlight was the Global Health Plan, backed by pledges of over $40 billion that could save the lives of about 16 million women and children over the next 5 years. Some African nations had their debts cancelled, and an aid increase of $27 billion was announced. But US President Barack Obama urged his fellow leaders to focus on development and partnerships rather than aid.
Consider the millions of people who have relied on food assistance for decades. That's not development, that's dependence, and it's a cycle we need to break. Instead of just managing poverty, we have to offer nations and peoples a path out of poverty. But the purpose of development, what's needed most right now, is creating the conditions where assistance is no longer needed. So we will seek partners who want to build their own capacity to provide for their people. We will seek development that is sustainable.
Back in Madagascar, the Millennium Villages project also recently donated a year's supply of stationery to the local primary school.
Since we started using the blackboards, we noticed that even the shy kids participate more because they all want to write on them. Our success rate in moving students up to other classes has increased to over 95%, and our failure rate has reduced from 8 to 4.5%. Success in exams is at 100%.
5 dams have now been built around Sambaina to improve the village's water supply.
We are really benefiting from the dam. Before we got it, we had to dig wells and wait for the rains before we could start planting. But since they were constructed, we are very happy because the farmers can implement the new techniques.
There is also a free clinic in the village, which it shares with neighboring communities since the nearest hospital is 6 kilometers away.
Before this project, the levels of diarrhea were very high here. We held an awareness campaign, and the levels have decreased because the villagers have constructed proper latrines and now regularly wash their hands.
According to a recent UN report, the world's top donors are short by about $16 billion in development assistance to Africa this year. Given the slow pace at which the grants are coming in, people hope initiatives like the Millennium villages will help speed up development. It costs an average of $24 million each year to run the Millennium villages that have been set up around the continent. If African governments could come up with the cash and replicate the models in Sambaina and other parts of the continent, it would be a great example of how Africa can help itself across the finish line come 2015.